Are you like me and you're itching to sow your seeds? They're 3 for 2 in the supermarket. There's stacks of them at nursery centres, and they speak of sunnier months. But it's a little bit too early to start sowing most of them. However, there are some plants that need a long growing season, and one of those is the chilli. And today on the Virtual Village Hall, I'm going to show you how to get your chilli plants started now. And then in the months to come, when you're picking a bountiful harvest, I'm going to show you how to use them to turn them into homemade chilli oil. So if you'd like to join me, all of the equipment, all of the ingredients that you're going to need are in the video captions above. I'm going to pop you down and get started. We're going to start off making our chilli oil. That needs a little bit of time to infuse. So then we're going to plant our seeds, then we'll come back to our chilli oil and decant that into bottles. So if you're ready, I'll pop you down and we'll get started. Okay, just check you can see that. Okay, so I've got my gas burner here. You'll obviously be using a hob, and I've got a measuring jug and my oil. The bottles that I'm going to use, this one is an example, and I've tested already. I know that holds about 300 millilitres of oil, of liquid. So if you're in old measures, that's about 1 1/4 cup. The bottles, by the way, have been sterilised. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can either by sterilising tablets and sort of make sure you follow all of the instructions on the packet, or like I tend to do, give them a really good wash in hot soapy water, give them a good rinse, and then put them in the oven, just on the oven racks for about 15 minutes at a very low temperature. So I use the simmer on my gas. But that's about 110 Celsius if you're electric. So that's my bottle all nicely sterilised. So I've got my measuring jug and my oil. So I'm going to start by measuring my oil. And as I said, I need 300 millilitres, which is about 1 1/4 cup. Now, I should say at this point that all of the chilies that I'm using, I did have to buy from the supermarket because I don't have any left over from last year. So you don't have to grow your own chilies to make this. You can also use bought chili seeds, bought crushed chilies and whole chilies as well. Make sure they're the dried ones. So normally with this recipe, a litre, you'll need about 6 tablespoons for a litre. As I said, my bottle will hold about 300 millilitres. So I'm going to put about 2½ tablespoons roughly of the crushed chilies into the oil. So I'm just going to start popping that in, and I will warm that up. Okay, wish me luck with this. Make sure I've got enough gas in. So you can use less or more chili flakes depending on how hot you like it. So just check. I'll turn that down slightly. There we go. Turn that down because you want it on a very, very low heat. You don't want the oil to smoke or to boil. You're just warming it through. There we are. So I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons of dried chili flakes in. So to make your dried chilies at the end of the season, all you need to do is to pick the chilies, give them a good wash, make sure they're dry, and then there's a number of ways that you can dry them. So if you're lucky enough to have a dehydration unit, then use that. Or what you can do, that's one side. Just pop that to one side. So we're just going to leave that over there. About 5 to 10 minutes. So to dry your chilies, what you can do is just thread, just using a needle and thread through the stalks so that they all hang in a row, and then leave them somewhere like a greenhouse or a polytunnel or an airing cupboard or somewhere where it's going to be nice and warm. So remember, it will be the summer months, so we will have summer again, I promise. It's going to be the summer months so that they'll dry nicely. Just keep checking on them sort of every few days to make sure none are going mouldy. And if any are going mouldy, then you can just discard those. Once they're dry, you can use them whole, or you can just put them in a food processor to blitz them up to make those chili flakes. And that's how you're going to be drying and using your chilies later on in the season. But before any of that happens, we need to sow our seeds. So that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, I'm going to put on gloves for this. I wouldn't normally wear gloves, but because I'm going to be handling food afterwards, and I haven't really got the resources to wash my hands, I'm just going to put my gloves on, which is probably going to make things a lot more difficult, but at least that makes it cleaner. Okay. So I sow my chili seeds, just a few to a pot. These are just 9 centimetres pot, and it's just potting compost. Everything's so much more difficult with gloves. So don't fill it completely to the top. And some of what's left. And then I'm just going to quickly give them a water. And just let that drain through slightly. So this video might be one that you want to save, because maybe you can't do this weekend, or perhaps you want to keep hold of the recipe for later when your chilies have all, when you're harvesting your chilies. So to save this video, all you need to do is just look up to the, I think it's the right hand corner just above the video, if you're watching this on replay. If you're watching live, hello, hope you're well. Wait till the end when the video gets put onto the Virtual Village Hall page, and then you'll be able to do this. So top right hand corner, there'll be 3 little dots. Press on that and one of them will be say save. Press save and that will save this video to your saved videos, and then you'll be able to come back and watch it. That water has drained through nicely. We don't want it absolutely sodden, but it's just wet enough. So these are the seeds that I'm going to be sowing. I've called them Dad's Hot Chilies because last year my dad grew some amazing chilies in his greenhouse. He didn't know what the name was, but they were so good. We saved the seeds, dried them, and then these are the ones that I'm going to be sowing today. But any chili seeds will do for this. So if you like a really hot one, go for the hot. If you like the mild ones or the lemony flavours, then go for those. I told you this is going to be more difficult in gloves. Okay. It's okay to touch these because they're edible anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to check on my oil because I can just smell it quite a lot, and I'm just going to turn it down slightly because I don't want that to start bubbling and burning. Give it another stir. That's it, and it's starting to smell really good as well. Okay, so we just keep that going on a very low temperature. Okay, back to sowing seeds. So in these pots, I'll sow just a few. Let's see how many I can get in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's probably enough in here. 4, 5. Oh, that one got 7. Spread them out nicely. Okay, gloves back on, and then go back to our compost, and then we just very lightly cover them over with just a thin layer of compost. Lightly pat it down so you make contact with the compost layer on the top, the seeds and the moist compost. And then to germinate these, if you're lucky enough to have a little propagator, heated propagator, they can go in there. But if not, then all you need to do is take a plastic sandwich bag, put it over the top. I'm just going to secure mine with an elastic band, so that'll keep the temperature in. And then these can go onto a warm windowsill or into an airing cupboard. But if you put them into an airing cupboard, just make sure that you keep an eye on them, because as soon as the seeds sprout, as soon as they germinate, as soon as you see the little green shoots coming out, you must take them out of the airing cupboard, because they'll then need the light to grow on. So I'm going to put mine just on a nice warm sunny windowsill, and all going well, they should germinate. You should start seeing the seeds come up, plants come up in about 10 to 14 days. But stick with it. They may take up to three or 4 weeks, so just be aware of that. They don't want to be absolutely sodden, but just make sure that they don't dry out. So once those chili seeds have been, once those chili plants have germinated, and they are big enough to handle, you can then pot them on to slightly bigger pots. So I would put 1 plant per this size pot. This size pot is about 9 centimetres. Then once May has come, when all the frosts are over, they're ready to either plant out into their final growing positions, so somewhere that's nice and hot and sunny, that gets a really good amount of sunshine. Final growing positions there. If you've got a greenhouse, they can go in your greenhouse, or if maybe you want them on your patio, so a nice sunny spot on your patio, then you can plant them into about 2-litre pots. Again, keep them nicely watered, but not overly watered, and don't let them dry out too much either. And then when it is time to harvest them, dry them, as I said earlier on, and then make your chili oil. And I'm going to finish that off now. Let me just move everything out of the way, and we can decant that oil into our bottles. Okay, so here we have chili oil. So it's just warmed, and that's been going for about 10 minutes. Make sure that you don't want it to be boiling, you don't want it to start smoking. We're just infusing the chilli seeds into the oil. I take my sterilised bottle and a funnel, and then very carefully start filling the bottle with the oil. And I've got some few chilli seeds that I do actually, I want to make sure go in so that can keep infusing. Ooh, I think we're up to the top. There we go. If I wanted to, I could have left a little bit more space and then just put a whole chilli in, just for decorative purposes really. And then I didn't actually put this on after there we go. Oh, I've put it on wrong. So what I will do when I've finished, I'll put this on properly, put the stopper in, and then that chilli oil will last sort of for about 6 months in a cool, dry place. Use it to drizzle over your pasta, over pizzas, use it at the start of a meal to dip your bread in, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that's inspired you to get down to your garden centres, to start growing your chilli seeds now, and maybe make some homemade oil, because that's what it's all about. When we grow our veg, it's the real pleasure. You know, part of it is the journey, absolutely, but sometimes the real pleasure is that smugness of homegrown food on your plate, on your table. Well, thank you so much again, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.